don't have, you know what I'm saying, if you don't have this down, then you're left to the wolves. That's a fucked up way of thinking. And to say that, not to say that we don't plan on changing it or anything like that, or just hoping for a better world. It's just that I don't accept the fact that that's the way it is. Not if I know that this is a free reign chicken area. You know what I'm saying? And then every time that somebody happens to assemble, that's considered illegal. So no wonder recently they passed the Black Identity Terrorist list thing, when black people started to find out that they weren't Africans no more, and that they were from here, that they were always in America. So that means the country was always yours, and the Indians that they stole it from were you, not those pale people who own Seminole Casino. Then so you go, oh man, that's my money. This is my country. Well, what's my real name? I'm not black. Well, what's my identity? Identity terrorist list. And so that's why it's a Black Identity Terrorist list. So again, it's when we do try to get our faculties together, now we're on a terrorist list. You see what I'm saying? You don't win in this system because it wasn't built for those people to win. And so it's not me doing this thing. I'm not the one to pass the Black Identity Terrorist list thing. They did. They wrote an entire bill, then passed it. I don't know what the process was, but that wasn't no fly-by-night thing. They went through that. So at that point, that's a well-executed form of racism, which was written now, but will stand 100 years from now. See what I'm saying? If nobody says nothing or don't do nothing. But 100 years from now, that's going to stand as a thing where you identify as what, sir? You're an android, robot, cyborg man. Because by that point, 100 years from now, we're going to be like cyborg people. That shit going to be wild, bro. But, yeah, man. But I just say that, yeah, man, I wish that a race baiter was just a race baiter. Because some of them are. But they put those people on, those assholes on TV. You know, the ones that don't know shit, that just want to bring up race because it's just race. But if somebody has a holistic understanding of what race comes from, what are races, where, you know, all that garbage, then you can dismiss whenever somebody tries to throw racist things at you. I'm just pointing out that they are the ones who have a problem with people that are brown. It's not me. And so whenever I call them on doing stuff to me because I'm brown, I'm not the one out of pocket. They are. But America trains us to believe that we're out of pocket for calling it what it is. But I cannot help that through example A through Z, I done called them out on 21 of them, or the 20 damn 6 alphabet or whatever it is. So it's like, hey, is it me or them? Because I'm not the one passing these bills. I'm not the one creating slave codes and passing law books. That's them. So yeah, man, I say that, granted, the people's frustration, they don't know how to articulate it well all the time, but their frustration is coming from a genuine place. And whenever they do these things, even, like I said, even in their ignorance, there's still some low-key divinity going on because they are standing behind somebody that they believe in, whether it's good or not. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's earth-shaking or not. You know, I see the 50-50 in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm a 50-50 guy, man. I see the world. I try to play both sides and see where each side is coming from. And then from there I go, all right, I'm neutral to it or whatever the fuck. Because even after I said all of that shit about all this stuff, about the government, I know that. I've studied it, I've seen it, or whatever. I'm not going to go out there and take arms or do nothing crazy or radical. It's just that, hey, man, it's okay to know. And I just say that, but a lot of our people don't know. And it's our lack of understanding, man, and that puts us here, man. So I say if you saw anybody stand outside, it's because they don't have conversations like this. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they definitely don't do that.
Yeah, they didn't do that. Not to say that they're dumb or anything like that. It's just that they don't go through this level of insight on a topic. And you know, it shows.
I mean, listen, I'm 50-50 too, and the point of this was, you know, I'm trying to show how when it comes to situations like Free Meek Mill, the outlook on that isn't 50-50. The outlook of it is like 100-0, and it's 100-0 it's 100 victimhood, accountability 0. There needs to be more of a balance where it's more like a 50-50. 50% of it is victimhood, 50% of it is accountability. Because if we don't hold ourselves accountable, then we'll always be victims per se. And if we're always victims, then all of that stuff that you just outlined is going to remain the same.
Yeah.
If you want to suggest that that it should remain the same forever, then you got me there. We can just keep talking about, the systems that have been put in place, institutional racism. We can keep talking about that until we can talk about that to the high heavens. Mm-hmm. We'll always be able to do that because we're always going to maintain that mentality that we're just victims and free-range chickens.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm just saying, it's at every door and it's at every turn.
Yeah,
and I'm not the one that put it at every.
I know you didn't put it at every turn, but look at you. You're aware of the situation and you're able to discern. Like, okay, yeah. I didn't put it here, therefore I won't allow myself to fall prey to it. I'm going to be aware.
And what I'm trying to get to you is that from a person who wasn't aware, that this awareness came through studying. And it came through knowing myself.
Right, and
it came through studying.
Yeah, you ain't wrong. But studying is also do you disagree with the idea that everyone has the capacity to study?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so if everyone has the capacity to study, that is one of the key. That's one of the key sort of ingredients in the recipe to acquire the resources that I've been talking about. Mm-hmm. If everyone has that capacity, then at that point there's less of an excuse. There's less of an opportunity for us to be crying victim all the time because all you got to do is do the studying.
I mean, I got you, man. But again, I just say that.
It's not like I'm sitting here doing all of this talking, and it's like, yeah, it's not easy. What I'm describing is by no means easy, but it starts somewhere.
No, it's got to start somewhere.
It starts somewhere. You can't just be a defeatist and be like, oh, they put this in place, blah blah blah. So let's just give up. Oh, like no. It has to start somewhere. And so what I'm saying is. It starts with, if it starts with studying, if it starts with insight, I don't know what the answer to that question is. But it has to start somewhere in which we begin to turn the page and we close the chapter on us being perpetual victims and we open up the chapter on the acquisition of resources. Because the acquisition of resources is the only way that system will no longer be the overwhelming force that it has been. It's the only way. And so I bring that point back around to the central argument about Meek Mill because the Meek Mill puts it on display right before our very eyes, and it shows how the natural instinct that we have to any instance in which there could be a potential opportunity for us to say, let's get right. Instead, we don't do that. Instead, we don't do that. Instead, we talk about how we're the victims of the system. And Meek Mill becomes the face of that.
I hear you. But I told you, again, that the symptoms that you speak of, these symptoms are not a part of the judicial system, but they're part of the system.
Right, yeah.
And so what we're witnessing, but not everybody's a part of it, but what we're witnessing is that people people like to call them sheeple or whatever, but people that are that aren't analytical, more or less, they're not this, they're that, they're whatever, and so which puts them in this position to put them out there. But like I said, low key, if I heard that was going on, I might have been out there myself.
You would go, yeah.
So I'm not above that myself.
Right.
So what it is it just looks bad.
Yeah.
It looks bad, but I told you before, man. It was just my thing is that people going through that extreme for just because he's a celebrity, mm-hmm. and they don't have the same level of outrage when Joe goes.
Right. Yeah.
And but I hear what you're saying. I agree.
But I think that does reflect a behavioral trait that we have, mm-hmm. which is why I think that it's a conversation that is worth having.
Do you feel like it's a natural one?
I think that you talk about social engineering, I think that we have been socially engineered to instinctively resort to victimhood. Like whenever there is an instance that takes place, it's never about what we did to put ourselves there. It's always, and when I say we, I mean people. You know what I'm saying? It's never about what role we played in the circumstance. It's always about what befell us. And I'm not saying that we're completely 100% to blame for everything. I'm talking about the imbalance.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about the 50-50 thing that you brought up.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, bro. But to start my point earlier, and to go back to my thing where I got pulled over, I low-key got at myself for handling the situation too lightly initially. I felt like I was handling it too lightly. So I was blaming myself for not handling it how he
having
wanted
more
me
of a
to.
Sense of urgency.
Well, no, handling the situation because I feel like he treated me such a way because I knew I was good.
Yeah.
And he was gonna show me that I wasn't. Because he knew I had something in that car, but he didn't. But he was like, "Well, now you do, bitch." So he had to wipe that smile off my face because he knew I was clean. And I low-key knew my rights because I was like, no, you can't do that. Because he asked to search my car too. And I was like, no, I'm sorry, sir, you can't.
I hear you.
Oh, the dog, bro. I was like, no, I'm sorry, you can't. And he said, well, according to statute, well, then do what you got to do. Then.
Yeah. But see, in your particular example, victimhood may very well apply. I think that your example is distinguishable from something like Meek Mill.
Yeah, from Meek Mill, but not from the guy who did 15 years for not doing that crime at all and got exonerated.
Point proven, but to bring it back around to a point that you made before, other people are going to take your example and group it in the same category as Meek Mill. And that's where I think the disservice occurs because your situation isn't that. Victimhood may very well have been a part of your circumstance behind what happened, not with his.
No, I got you because the immediate result of what I had didn't add up to incarceration. But he committed a crime by planting something on me in the first place.
Yeah,
and that was the crime.
Yeah,
and so he did a crime on me. I am a victim, and so for Meek Mill, for him getting his probation stretched out that long, that is a crime. And for having that personal conflict of interest. Heard a woman say, "Hey man, sign with so-and-so, or whatever, he didn't want to do it, and now they got a problem." So allegedly. But when we're dealing with dynamics like that if they had an inkling of a conversation like that, she's already out of pocket.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, you're right, yeah.
She's already out of pocket.
Yeah.
So when we're dealing with stuff like she is committing crimes, she is in the wrong.
Okay.
So now we're dealing with a situation where we are being victimized.
You're right. I'm aware. Yeah, I'm aware of that, and so I do know that at the end of the day, this may turn out as that particular example. But
I heard you say it though.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter whether all of those things are in play or not. Mm-hmm. The reaction will be the same always for us, which is free this guy, free that guy.
Free that man.
Yeah.
Free, because when Kodak was in there, because Kodak got in there for some wild shit. And when he was in there for pistol whipping somebody or doing something, slanging dope, I'm like, man, this jet out here. He really living his rhymes. Because he's a byproduct of other shit. But he's a real nigga, so he's really going to sell drugs. And he's really going to pistol whip you. So when Jit out here wild, I'm like, damn, Kodak out here wilding. So then it got to a point where I was like, damn, Kodak, you fucked up again, though? Granted, he is a kid on beans. So he's on all kind of shit. So, of course, he's geeked up. And he don't know what he's doing in public. Seen him on South Beach, just walking across the street. Kid was geeked out. Granted, he just finished performing. The kid's geeked out. 18 years old. Around all these hoes. You know what I'm saying? What you think this kid gonna do? So, of course, he harasses a stripper. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, I don't know how far the harassment went, but it's just like, nigga, I'm fucking Kodak, and I don't know what that situation was. I never know how those celebrity girl things do. But nevertheless, once those things get on his, they start finding out he in the jail for sexual assault, of course it looks crazy saying free Kodak. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just certain things where it's like, hey, man, but people still yell free him. And I want him out. Because you know what? I said, he He didn't do nothing. He didn't do anything. I mean, not with a sexual assault or pistol whipping anybody. But you know what I'm saying. He's fucking Kodak, man. He's a celebrity.
You're doing the exact thing that I'm talking about.
No, he can do whatever he wants. He's a celeb. Not like that, but you know what I'm saying. So when he's in there, I don't care. When he's in there, it's free that man. And I'm not posting it on my page. But when somebody else posts it, I know why. I get it. I mean, I get it, bro. And I don't contribute it to victimization. I don't put it to a term. I just say that people get it, and that's all it is. I just think it's just an identity thing to where something white happening, but there's a black person in the room, and you and a black person understand what's going on. You know what I'm saying? That type of deal. And there all this other wild shit going on in the world, but I know what you're going through, bro. You know what I'm saying? We're going to hold you down. We're going to get you out. But again, they run that rhetoric across the board, no matter who it is, no matter what the crime is. And like I said, they did it for Bobby Schmurder, but it was like, bro, they got your ass. Like, y'all did that. You may not have pulled the trigger, but you were definitely a conspirator. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, bro, and then you bragged about it on the song. You murdered somebody, bro. That's not cool. You know what I'm saying? Free Schmurder. No, it's not free Schmurder, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. So it's certain things where it's like it's conditional for sure. But the reason why the Meek one is because he did what? Yeah, he got thrown in. He was on for how long? You know what I'm saying? That's what I said. This is a circumstantial situation that, and because social media is at the level that it is now, it got blown up the way that it did. And I honestly, I'm really shocked and surprised that people gotten that far with their level of protest for a rapper. Mm-hmm. And so, but again, man, this is just the latest, the newest way that our people are learning how to deal with stuff. And right now, they think marching and standing outside places is how you get things done. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know where they learned that from. I really don't know where they get it from, man. But they learned it from somewhere. Yeah, man. But yeah, I feel like that's not good.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. So you want to plug away?
Oh yeah, man. Of course, as always, it's your boy Dogon_SS. You can go ahead and follow me on IG. It's lit on my side. I also got a YouTube popping. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can go ahead and follow that. I will be releasing various videos that I more or less drop on my IG, but the shit's still lit. It'd be like low-key documentaries. Mm-hmm. So check out your boys, Dogon_SS. You know what I'm saying? And, high side of corporation. We making moves over there, man.
Yeah, just, when you're out and about, just think about some of the stuff that's going on, man. You can follow me around JV Wins on IG, JVWINS, on Twitter at Javis Ogden. Other than that, keep it logical. We out.